I guess if this was a question posed up to the state of the village, the answer would be awesome, because we are doing amazing and things are going great. I want to thank you all for coming today, and I want to express my gratitude to the Frankfort Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. As mayor, I'm honored to stand before all of you today and provide an update on the current state of the village. It's both a privilege and a responsibility to keep you informed about what's going on in our town and the progress that we're achieving here over the past year, and I'm happy to share our vision for the future. I want to acknowledge our board that's here as well. We have Trustee Adam Borelli, Trustee Maura Ragoni, Trustee Dan Rossi, Mike Ledden, and did I miss somebody here? Oh, and Gene Savaria. All right. Sorry, Gene. Together we've worked tirelessly to ensure that the well-being and prosperity of the village is placed. And I'd be remiss also if I didn't acknowledge my lovely wife and First Lady, Kim Ogle. Frankfort, of course, great place to work and live. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that took place during the year. Sometimes you have to look back and really go, wow, we've done a lot in a short period of time. But also we want to talk about where we're going, because that's most important. The services that the village provides are all up here. You know, police protection, that's one of our biggest expenses and one of our most important things, as well as our public streets, snow plowing, water, sewer, planning, zoning. We have a couple plan commissioners here tonight. The chair of our plan commission is here as well. Inspection service, code enforcement, and special events. One of the things that I think we're most proud of here in Frankfort, and it doesn't happen everywhere else, is our financials. We just approved our budget the other night, and we have the upcoming budget. I believe we have $22,293 in projected revenue. 43% of that comes from sales tax in the village. And our expenses, $19,370,000. And 48% of that is the police department. But this is a little bit about where we're at. A few years ago, we did go to a referendum to raise our sales tax so that we're at 8%. We're still lower than most, and that has helped us considerably, as you see on the chart. Now there are some threats to that, and we are working with our state legislators about restoring LGDF, which was a distributive fund, which accounts for millions of dollars, as well as there is currently a bill about a grocery tax repeal, which for Frankfort will be a $600,000 income or impact, and we have reflected that in our revenue. Some other communities like Joliet, it's a $3 million negative impact. Oh, we'll go back. Something we're very proud of is the way that we handle our finances, and that we've received for the last 34 consecutive years a certificate of achievement for excellence in our financial reporting. And that is very much about staff, our finance director, but also our board and how we handle things here. It's important that the vision of Frankfort is sustainable financially as well. So we work very hard to make sure that we have the only bonded debt that we have at the moment is part of that $60 million wastewater treatment plant. We have no other bonded debt. So we run our village very carefully and very, very fiscally and responsibly. Public safety. This is an area that everyone is concerned about. Oh, I jumped too fast, sorry. This is something that was implemented and is currently in place, and we're going through the testing. It's been in our budget for several years. We are waiting for legislation to catch up. And I think it's still in process of getting there, but our police will have body cams. This has been something that our police have embraced, our board has always embraced. It keeps our residents safe in the interactions, as well as our officers. Most everything now is on video. The other thing that you may or may not notice around town too is that we have a lot of license plate readers. We invested in those the last couple of years. We've worked also with the county on some levels. And we have had situations where we have been able to, cooperating with other police departments, track down criminals who committed crimes using these license plate readers. So it's had a very positive effect in our community. There we go. Now, this is something that we've had for a while, Nixle, but there's a new wrinkle to this that will be coming out very soon, and we'll send you a Nixle alert. We're going to be able to target very specific areas. So if you've signed up with your telephone number on there, we'll probably ask you to put your address in. So if there's a water main break in Prestwick, say on Jim McFarland's street, we can send specifically just to Jim McFarland Street that there's a water main issue, that the crews are out there and there's a boil order, as opposed to sending it to the entire town. Everybody doesn't need to know. Now, some people do want to know everything goes on. Mrs. Kravitz lives somewhere in Frankfort. I don't know where, but I know she's here. So this is coming very soon. We've been working on this as part of continue the modernization of this village. Economic and community development. As you can see, there's a lot of activity going on, especially in downtown Frankfort. So we're going to talk about that. And most of these things, if they're private entities, they'll move. They have to go through a process here. We don't do anything in the dark. There are plan commission meetings, public meetings, committee of the whole meetings, eventually the village board. When it's a project that's done by the village, we have some more control over it, and that may move at a different speed than otherwise. We have over 700 business licenses in the village of Frankfort. And since July last year, where we went to an automated system, we've been working on consolidating all those computer systems. We've added 28 new businesses since last July on top of that. This was the first year that we recognized a residential landmark. And so Judy Schultz home on Hickory Street, we presented a plaque, and we continue. May 1st, we'll have a historic survey, and it's a meeting that's open to the public at the village. We'll be talking about some of the properties that are here in Frankfort. We do have an important history, and we certainly encourage people to renovate and protect their homes as much as they can. That's not always possible, and we do also appreciate everyone's investment and reinvestment back in our town. Building a vibrant future. So we have some new buildings that have gone up in Frankfort, and also something that I want to emphasize here too is that if anybody watched the show Suits, Harvey Specter would always do, he's up here. The quality of Frankfort and the expectation in the town is that it's here. Not that we're better than anybody else, but we've always demanded that standard. And you can see it reflected in some of the recent projects that have been done. This one's an amazing one. The former Borg Warner plant. Over the years, that went from a very active, a lot of employees, a lot of activity there. They started to taper down their operations at the same time as the residents started to move in and fill that area. So it very much changed. That building is 229,000 square feet. When you walked by it, when you're down in that area, it didn't look that big. From an aerial, you start to really see how big it is. Just for a point of reference, the Orland Sportplex is 90,000 square feet. So this is 2.5 times the size of it. We looked at a lot of possibilities with it when it was up for sale. It was for sale by Borg Warner. It was not a private sale. And we didn't want another industrial user there, especially as the residents had moved in. And so that was one of the strong concerns on our board, was that we had the right mix, the right tenant. As it was, we worked with Borg Warner to get it rezoned for residential, and they were accepting of that. At first, they threatened to sue us, but relented, and now this will be a residential development. We're still working through the process with the people that bought it. They brought a quality product. Somebody had said, is it Section 8? I said, no, it's probably more like Section 800,000. These are going to be nice homes, and we're trying to make sure that the quality and the standard is here. Again, this is what we're looking for. And We're going to go through a process. This is a public process. Once we get some more engineering things hammered out with them, then we're going to bring it to the individual board members, and they will talk, they'll give some commentary on it before it heads through the plan commission. There's no point in going to something and the board is just like, no, absolutely not, when we get on the other side of it. So this is a very exciting project. And also this is in our downtown. So the traffic flow and everything else is very important how this is being done. Everbrook Academy is right there on Route 30, over by the Kohl's Plaza, another beautiful building. Our plan commission did an excellent job on keeping that standard up, and also we worked with the residents as far as screening for landscaping in the back and just overall flow into their area because they're adjacent. This is over by Windy Hill, the Oasis Living Center. They're moving dirt there. You can see a lot of activity there. Dan Elliott is here, and yep, Dan. So this Integris project, you'll see this on White Street. And I think Mookie is here also. Yep, there we go. From Senso Sushi, who will be one of the tenants here. So we're very excited about this. There's 3 restaurants as well as a dental office that'll be in this. And this is moving along well, and I think the current projection now is for July. And hopefully we'll continue to have good weather and we'll be able to do all these things on that timeline. Sparks Coffee has been approved out on LaGrange Road, out by Imagine. They haven't broken ground yet. Now here's something that, to look back on it. On Harlem Avenue, just south of Route 30, that property, there were office buildings that have been there vacant and deteriorating since 1993 for 31 years. So we actively started working on getting this back into play, and some local residents in support of the Teen Bridge Center, and this is now going to be a reality, and we're going to have some activity there. They are a nonprofit, so that they don't generate property tax, which is a very minimal amount, but they do generate sales tax because of what they're doing there. So those buildings were almost at the point where they had to be just destroyed. And so it's nice to see them renovating it and putting it to good use. And actually, if you're not familiar with their program, they're pretty amazing. They've been in Orland Park for quite a few years. And I know South Suburban League is a supporter of theirs, and they do an amazing job. It'll be a nice addition to Frankfort. And again, we met with, brought the residents in at Georgetown, had them meet with them and make sure that they understood what it was that we were going to do, and that they're good corporate neighbors. Again, another example of the standard that we have and that we demand here in Frankfort. This is right next to the Walgreens on Laraway Road, beautiful building. And here we go back to untangling messes. If things were easy, they would have been fixed 20, 30 years ago. They weren't. They're difficult. This took a lot of time to unravel, and I don't know if Kevin is here. Kevin Krieger? I don't think Kevin might be out of town for this. So, old Cactus Carroll building, again, something that's been vacant for almost 30 years. And the Candle Vault was also part of this whole entity. One of our local residents, who's an attorney, Rich Rappold, who was a former chamber president, helped to find the estate. The village had been maintaining some of these properties. They'd fallen into disrepair. Actually, one of our employees basically fell through the floor during an inspection. We had liens against this property. And 2 years ago, when the trustees and I were meeting about our initiatives, I asked if they were in favor of us going after this before this building fell down. We were going to take legal action to foreclose on it and make sure that it just didn't completely fall apart. During that process, we found out there were 2 PIN numbers on the Candle Vault building. As they went to restore it, they didn't own the whole building. Because of the 1890s and the old settings here, there were properties that were very difficult to untangle. We were able to find the estate, and fortunately everything came through. The Candle Vault, if you haven't been in there, has been beautifully restored. And it's a beautiful building, and I believe The Cactus Carol building is moving forward as well. Petite Patate will be going in there. It's a French bistro. Was a resident, grew up in the square, opened several restaurants in New York City, and he's coming back home to do this. They should be open, last I heard was August. And just north of our friend Harry from Enrico's, his plaza is a new Dunkin' Donuts commercial plaza. So Dunkin' will be the anchor for that, but there's 4 other units that'll go in there. And they got the approval the other night, so that'll be moving along. The historic building survey, that's May 1st. That'll be coming up. That's, you're welcome to come to the Village Hall and find out. Again, we're very proud of our history in Frankfort, and we want to maintain things as much as we can. It's not always possible, but we can renovate and reinvest. Infrastructure. So this is another project that was years in the making. It was a major part of our comprehensive plan that we approved in 2019, and this was the time to do it. We had some delays. One of them was from the government. We couldn't get a permit that we needed in time, and then also the cost of materials when we were going to pull the trigger on this, so to speak, 2 years ago, went through the roof. The bids came back way above the engineer's estimate. That was when the asphalt and everything and price of oil went through the roof. So this area is ahead of schedule. It was a July completion. I don't want to jinx anything here. We should get that open before that. And we're going to have a public opening. We're going to have a ribbon cutting for it. We'll have some sort of event. Maybe the residents can walk the street before we open it to the public. It's a very important component in our development. It opens up that whole Route 30 corridor between Mariano's and basically the library. And we're very excited about this. And we've talked to quite a few private developers. The space that's owned in between is all privately owned. It's not owned by the village. So we're working with them. And again, we're bringing this standard in here, this standard for Frankfort. A lot of people will come to us as developers or have a project and say, we want to come to Frankfort because it's here. And our project is here. We're like, no, I'm sorry, it needs to be here. That's the expectation of our town. That's how we keep the value here, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Turn lanes are in. This is ahead of schedule. About 2 weeks before they can turn it over to us, they'll give us the completion date, and then we'll announce it to the public. Just the other day, we approved our budget for the upcoming year. And one of the asks that I came to the trustees with was for road resurfacing, $10 million. This is the most we've ever spent on our road resurfacing. And just to give you a little idea where we're at, we started on a very aggressive program to do this the last couple years. Last year we did $7 million. The previous year, $7 million. When I became mayor, we had $3 million allocated. I asked for an additional $1 million to go into it. Back in 2017, we were at $550,000 for road repairs. We have 130 miles of road to do, and we had fallen far behind the maintenance curve. A lot of these roads were built during the Great Recession for these neighborhoods as Frankfort was growing very quickly, and now they're 15 or 20 years old, and they were getting to their end of their life cycle. If we can resurface the roads, we can save a considerable amount of money. If they go into disrepair, then they have to be rebuilt, and that's 2.5 to 3 times the cost to do so. So it's just prudent for us to do this, and we have the money to do it. And the referendum that we went to raise the sales tax a couple years ago, that was specifically to fix the roads and to add additional police, which we have. And actually, as some police have retired right now, we have 6 officers, I believe, that are going to be coming out of the academy, replenishing the numbers. So one of the other things real quick that I'm very proud of with this too, as we've gone through and restored some of these streets and these crosswalks, as we've made them ADA accessible. There's ramps for that. We have some areas in the town, because it's old, where we can't. And I know we all have people in our families or friends that have mobility issues, and we want Frankfort to be a place where everybody feels welcome and they feel safe and they feel like they're part of this community. So I'm very proud of the fact that as we're redoing these streets and these intersections that we're making them ADA accessible. Downtown community enhancements. We have a lot of things going on downtown as well. We have 2 parking lots that are going in, as well as we're going to restore our Prairie Park play set that's there. That park is owned by the village. Years ago, that was really not a park. It was an area that was acquired in order to divert the water that used to flood Route 45 and Route 30. So it is really a retention area for water, but it's grown into a very peaceful, beautiful place. It's a flex space that we use for the Bluegrass Festival, carries over, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place now. Years ago, not that many years ago actually, when Fox Lumber was there were trucks going in, smoke and diesel and saws going all the time. It was loud, it was noisy, and there's a gravel parking lot and some really ugly structures. It is beautiful, and with the assistance of Senator Hastings, we've been able to get some grants, so we can enhance the lighting there, and also one of the areas was the parking. We had money allocated by our board already, but this grant certainly helps, and we'll take that, and we can take the money we were going to use, and we're going to reinvest it, continue to reinvest it in Frankfort, improving Frankfort. One of the favorite things was the street closure last year for Kansas Street. So I think lunchtime on May 24th, is that the Friday? We're going to close the street for the season to do that. And I had a great picture of this at night. This was done early on before before the poles were painted and everything else was done. But they'll be matching, and it was very popular. Now, of course, it happened during COVID that we had to shut down the street just so everybody could survive. The business could survive. But the response from the public was so overwhelmingly in favor that we should do this all the time. So we had to work through a lot of details with it, but we're always very much in favor of it. There was some talk about possibly a permanent closure. The board is not considering a permanent closure. This will be a seasonal one, and we'll continue to do what makes a lot of sense here. And if we did have a different change, there would be a lot of public meetings about that. We have a lot of meetings in Frankfort about issues. So, special events. Comments that I got from people, as you go around Frankfort, it's like, there's something going on all the time down here. And that's true. A lot of this stems from the fact that, we shut down COVID. In 2020, we didn't have a fall festival. It was shut down because of COVID. We brought that back, and Chris Herder, Chris was instrumental in working to help bring that back that year. The governor, I believe, released some of the restrictions in July, and we had a very short time period to scramble to get it. We were looking at some sort of hybrids, but we didn't want to do something that would damage that brand or the quality of what it was. And so we were struggling with it quite a bit. And a lot of former chamber presidents and other people came back in, stepped in to make sure that 2021 Fall Festival went off. And they did an amazing job. I'm very proud of our town. We're also just recently, Sunday, we went back to the pre-COVID layout for the Frankfort market. So during that same time, in order to keep the market going and to have a quality market, we had to social distance, as that was the law. And so we went over to White Street. Now it's all combined back to its original space, and that frees up that entire parking lot over on that side. All I heard from this weekend was that it went incredibly well. People were very, very happy, even though it was a cold, brisk 40-degree day to be out there. We're looking forward to a great summer with that. You got natural produce coming in, locally grown. We have one of the most desirable and talked about markets in the whole region. So I'm very proud of it and where we've come along here. We do have some other events that we put in last year was our zip code day. Running through my calendar, I happened to go, oh, that's 60423. That's our zip code and also a day for an event. And we looked at some things that we could do. We had an amazing drone show, community photo, a lot of events. We had a couple community residents that got involved in the planning and the ideas. And Sue Lynchy did an amazing job making this actually happen. Yeah. I'll bring Sue ideas of things like, hey, I saw this. Wouldn't it be cool to do this? And then Rob will go, oh, no. Rob Pisha, our village administrator. I'll go, no, Rob, come on. Let's look into it and go, oh, sheesh. That's a little more expensive. But we were able to do it, and I think that was a once in 100 years that would happen. And it's important as a community, that source of pride, as well as, we won't be able to do that again because now everybody else is doing them. And we were the first ones to do it, and it was really cool. And this year, obviously we can't do a zip code day, but we're going to do a summer kickoff. It's the same day as the country market and the community showcase. So we're going to, just like the other one, we showcase the things that are done in Frankfort. So we'll have a band throughout the day. We'll have a lot of other activities. And we have another one that I saw for Sue. It's like, hey, what if we could we think we could do this? And so get some numbers, and I go to Rob, and Rob's like, oh, no. Sorry to pick on you, Rob. But at the end, we go, you know what? This is something memorable. This is something for the families that enjoy, and I think it would be something really cool. So I think some of the trustees we already talked about, kind of where we're going to go with it. We have a bunch of things coming up. We've added some more events, and a lot of this is post-COVID for us, is to connect people and community again. One of the things about Frankfort is that it's really a sense of community. And, we do this really, really well. People talk about us like being a Hallmark Channel, right out of our Hallmark Channel movie, especially the tree lighting. And I tell people too, ain't nobody gonna out Mayberry Frankfort. So we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna have that sense of small town thing, even though we're a modern town. We've got Ghosts on the Green coming up this year too. It's a new event. So that'll be in October. We'll have some scary stories. It'll get progressively scarier as the day goes on. Early in the day, it'll be things that are very appropriate for young kids and families, but maybe a paranormal tour. There's a lot of ghost stories around Frankfort, and Will County, I guess, is a hotbed of paranormal activity. So there might be some Ghostbusters involved as well. But we're trying to make fun things and things that are accessible. And one other part of it too is the events that we program for the village. I want to make sure that they are free to attend. It's been very important is that everyone, regardless of their particular condition, we live in an affluent community, but one person can barely pay their light bill, and then the one next door is trying to decide which Range Rover to buy for their first-time driver. We're compassionate. This is a big-hearted community, and I want to make sure that everyone can participate and they can feel welcomed in here. We also have an Oktoberfest coming up too. So we're working with the Frankfort Restaurant Association, and that's, I believe, October 5th. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of interesting event. And then we're going to do a Chris Kindle weekend. So, we're not bringing in, the organized group there. We're working with the chamber, and this will be specific to our area, and it's going to be a fun one as well. All right. I want to thank you all for coming. This was a great showing, and I know people here are very, very proud of our town and engaged in it.